Hello everybody, it's Brian for GadgetUnit.com, and in this video I'll be showing you my iPhone 6 Plus's unjailbroken app setup. I'm running iOS 9.3.2, and this is actually the fourth time I'm doing this video because QuickTime kept skipping audio, and I think it's because it happened at my lock screen, and once the phone shuts off, the audio recording within QuickTime itself stops, which results in the skips that I was experiencing. So hopefully fourth time is the charm. Just have to make sure my iPhone doesn't lock itself again. So, as I mentioned, I am using QuickTime on OS X to record this video. As you can tell by the status bar, it's showing a full signal, but I only have 3 bars of LTE where I am. I'm also not on Wi-Fi. I'm actually on LTE. Wi-Fi is totally off like it always is. It's also not 9:41 a.m. It's actually 7:26 p.m. on Friday, May 20th. And I don't have 100% battery, I have about 72%, I think. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I am not jailbroken. For the past couple of months, I have been stocked because at one point I did have to get my iPhone replaced due to an internal screen issue. My Apple Store replaced the phone, no questions asked, which means that I got a replacement phone that came on, I think, 9.2, which means it wasn't jailbroken, or jailbreakable rather. So for the past couple of months, I have been stock, and if you guys have been subscribed to me for a little while, you know that I did try out the Alcatel One Touch Fierce XL for a couple of weeks in place of my iPhone 6 Plus, and I definitely prefer Android over stock iOS any day of the week. And it's even had me thinking lately that Android I think might just be the way to go for me because I want more flexibility in terms of my smartphone usage, and stock iOS is just nowhere close to that. Of course, having a jailbroken version of iOS would be ideal for me, but with Android 6 and the upcoming release of Android N, to me that would pretty much take care of everything I would use a jailbreak for. But anyway, that's a topic for a different video. Basically, I am running stock iOS 9.3.2. My setup though looks a lot like, or at least as far as my home screen goes, it's very much like how I had when I was jailbroken. For example, I only have 2 rows of icons and they're pushed towards the bottom of the screen, which makes it so that everything is easily accessible with just my thumb. And I'm able to do this with blank, quote unquote, icons. Basically, a website called iempty.tooliphone.net can make home screen icons based off of your home screen background. So basically, you have to make an empty page just so that only your wallpaper is showing, take a screenshot, and then each of the icons represent that particular portion of your home screen wallpaper. And once you put those icons in the appropriate spot within the app grid, it makes it look like nothing is there. As far as apps, I have Messages, Calendar, Photos, Settings in row 1. In row 2, I have Extras, which has all of the stock Apple apps. The first 8 I use regularly. Everything else after that, I literally never open. So the ones I use are Calculator, Clock, Camera, Wallet, Voice Memos, Weather, Notes, and App Store. FaceTime and everything else that you see here, I just never, ever open. If I was jailbroken, I would hide those from my Springboard altogether. In my games folder, I have Carmageddon, Crazy Taxi, Crossy Road, Flight Control, Game of Life, Osu Stream, and the Steam mobile app. And a couple weeks ago, I actually removed several apps that I just don't use very often. In the Settings app under General and About, it says I have 32 apps installed. I would actually consider myself to have 30 installed. More on that once I get to the Others folder. In my Social folder, I have Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, Skype, Swarm, Tweetbot, and Twitter. And the reason I have 2 Twitter apps is because I use the official Twitter app for push notifications for when certain accounts tweet something. For example, @BreakingNews. I have several other Twitter accounts that I follow to receive tweets for, and that's pretty much how I stay up to date on different things in the general news landscape, politics, tech, things like that. Everything else I use in Tweetbot. In my Others folder, I have Disney World, now that I'm an annual pass holder. I also have File Explorer, Golf Shot, which I'll probably replace with an Excel spreadsheet for keeping track of golf scores. Google Maps, 99.5 KISS, My D-Link Lite, Randomizer for those indecisive moments, Shazam, Sling Player, Speed Test, T-Mobile, TeamViewer, TV Guide, Time Warner Cable TV, and the Withings app for my Withings Activity Pop watch. The ad blocker that I use for iOS is AdGuard, and the primary keyboard that I use is Swipe. In those two icons, iOS considers to be apps, but to me, these things I install once, set them up once, and I never open them again. Although AdGuard is a bit more customizable in terms of whitelisting and different filters, I've never changed any of those things, so as far as I can tell, those two applications I just don't go into. So while iOS says I have 32 apps, I would consider myself to have 30. In my dock, I have mobile phone, mail, Spotify, and Safari. Back to Swipe for a moment. The reason I use that is because it makes one-handed typing so much easier and much more efficient. So for example, if I'm walking around with my iPhone 6 Plus or I have it lying flat on a table like I do now, it just makes typing so much easier. So for example, this is a typing test. I just typed 5 words in less than 1.5 seconds, all using my index finger without having to tap each individual key. Of course, Google and Microsoft both have their own iOS keyboards now. I tried those, but I didn't find autocorrect or its general accuracy to be as good as Swipe. I didn't really use them too long, so it probably does have to learn how I type after a while. But in general, I do like Swipe a lot. Once the other two keyboards improve a bit, I'll probably switch to those. As far as my accessories go, I'm using my black and white Spec Candy Shell grip. It's actually a bit beat up, but it still serves its purpose just fine. It still looks great, provides a ton of grip, which no other case I've ever used comes close to doing. And I'm still using my Tech Armor anti-glare screen shields. I've had this one installed for the past couple of months. I've had this replacement iPhone and I don't think there's a scratch on it, so it's definitely holding up fairly well. I'm definitely looking forward to the next jailbreak, whenever that's going to be. Apple's probably going to be putting out a supplemental 9.3.3 update soon to fix the breaking issues on the 9.7-inch iPad Pro. And knowing the people who come up with jailbreaks are going to wait for that to be released, or maybe take much longer, or we'll never see a jailbreak again. We just don't know. This community, there's just a huge lack of communication from those who release these things. On the Android side of things, you have, for example, the HTC 10. It's been out for less than 2 weeks. It had a root almost immediately. The bootloader is already unlocked, which probably helps with that, so you can already install custom ROMs if you wanted to. And it had me thinking lately that I think Android is probably the way I should go. So much of what I can do with a jailbreak, I could do out of the box with Android, even when using TouchWiz or HTC Sense or whatever LG calls their user interface, or of course stock Android. Though I think that for what I do, I just really enjoy the way my jailbroken setup was, especially when it comes to multitasking. Although Android N has the multitasking feature where you just double tap on the multitasking button in the bottom right and it will quickly switch between the last 2 apps that you've used, which to me is just so efficient and smart to do. Whereas multitasking on iOS is garbage. You double press the home button, you have this scrolling thing of app cards. It's just so big. Sometimes it doesn't work well. If you have a bunch of apps in the background, it takes a long time to clear those. You just can't clear them all out at once like you can on Android or with jailbroken tweaks. Though for me, ideally, a jailbroken version of iOS would be the way to go. Though, if we never see jailbreaks again, and if iOS 10 is a huge letdown in terms of features and customizations, I really wouldn't mind switching over to Android. I probably wouldn't do that until this 6 Plus somehow breaks or dies or anything like that. I paid quite a bit of money for this phone and I want to hold on to this as long as humanly possible. So even if we're into the 2020s, hopefully I still have this iPhone as long as nothing happens to it. Anyway, that's it with this video. If there are any comments, questions, or feedback about this or anything else, feel free to leave everything down below in the comments area. I know that your screen has been pretty much just showing my home screen for a while, but I don't have anything else to show for you there. That's it with this video. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.